It's very important before you buy a house to make sure you know what a property easement is and how that affects you. Now, a lot of you who are first home buyers or new to the property purchase game will be scratching your head and asking the same questions like my Vietnamese uncle. Q, what the hell you talking about? What the hell is a property easement? Jumping to my drawing board, what is a property easement exactly? Well, to be in layman terms, it's the right to cross or use someone else's land. And in super layman terms, to describe what an easement is, say for example, there's a vacant piece of land, it means certain sections of the land, well, you can't build on it. Now, a lot of you might say, hey, this is my piece of land, why can't I use it? Well, certain portion of this land, the easement might be shared by your neighbor. For example, shared driveway. It might be for power lines. It might be for the sewage area over here, or it might be for telephone lines. Now, the most important reason why you should know about the keyword property easements when looking through the contract or the floor plan is because if you're a small developer or a wannabe developer or a home builder, it's vitally important for you to understand the easements before you purchase this vacant piece of land or this property if you're offering to do a knockdown rebuild, to see where the easements act, because it can have an impact on whether your project is viable. For example, you have some plans to build on part of the easement that you can't build on. Because what happens is if you do not know that and you build on the easement that your neighbor has rights to access to, they have the right to tell you to rip that shit off and fuck off. Well, I was being over dramatic. They can't tell you to fuck off, but they'll tell you to remove that shit because it's not legal. So the next natural question you might be asking is, what are the different types of easements, Q? Now, to dumb things down, there are two categories of easements. There are positive easements and negative easements. Now, a positive easement is when one party permits another party to enter their property for use. So for example, if you need to use the driveway of your neighbor's property in order to reach your property, you are the servient estate, and the person giving you permission is the dominant estate. Sounds kind of like BDSM-y, but it's not that kinky. Now, when buying or building a established home or a new home, you need to be aware of the easements. The reason why is without an easement and you were to go into the passageway to reach your place, that will be considered a trespass or a nuisance. So if you're buying a property, it's very important for you to find all the easements before the exchange of contracts. And when you're trying to sell the property, you really need to make sure to disclose all easements and include them in the contract of sale of the land. And if you're not sure, ask your solicitor or conveyancer. Now, you might be wondering, what is a negative easement, Q? Well, it does the opposite effect. It stops the other party from doing something to your part of the property. For example, you bought a vacant piece of land or a house that is established and you weren't aware of a certain part of the easement that the neighbor has put down as a negative easement, and you decide to build on that, well, you're going to get denied. And to go down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper on property easements, there are some common form of easements that you need to be aware of. For example, the right-of-way easements, service easements, and light and air easements. To give brief examples of these common types of easements, for example, the right-of-way easement, for example, the shared driveway. Without this easement, one party will be landlocked and couldn't access their property from the road. So you need to make sure you double check this before you buy the property. And for service easements, this easement allows a portion of someone's property to be used to deliver services such as telephone lines, power lines, water pipes, and sewage. And if you see a light and air easement in the contract of sale, it's a form of negative easement. This form of easement restricts one party from building walls or structures that might block another party's access to light and air. Now, in terms of my 15 years experience in terms of seeing a lot of property purchases, I've seen property purchases not go ahead because of certain easements on the contract. This is because in terms of property easements, there's a clause in easements where you can actually create easements, which means your neighbor can be a dick by creating a negative easement, or you can be a dick to your neighbor by creating a negative easement as well. And there are 4 types of creation of easements. For example, number 1, implied easement. Number 2, express easements. Number 3, easement by necessity. And number 4, easements by prescription. To be very brief in terms of these 4 categories of easement creations, when you do implied easement, this is the boss and king of all easements because it goes through common law and statute. Now, to do an express easement is granted or reserved in a legal document such as a deed called an express easement. The last 2 is kind of complicated, but this number 4th one is sort of like an implied easement. And number 3 is basically to enforce this easement, the concerned party will file an easement lawsuit to the court. And before I end this video, of course, guys, you can dispute an easement because usually when there's an easement, it favors one party over another. Now, of course, that causes conflict and friction. And before I go, these are the frequently asked questions of easements that clients often ask me. So the frequently asked question most clients ask me is this: hey Q, does an easement affect the value of my property? Hell yeah, easements bring about certain restrictions to the next landowner, and it does affect your value of the property. So check it before you buy it. Another question is, can a property owner deny an easement? Fuck yeah. However, a stat authority might demand easement even without the owner's consent, so watch out. Another common question is, how do you locate an easement, Q? Well, look at the diagram on the contract of sale lodged by the Office of Land Titles, or ask your bloody solicitor, because you're paying for them, so let them do their bloody job. Next question is, can an easement be removed from the title? Hell yes, if the grantor and the grantee mutually decide to do so. And the very last question is there are any consequences for constructing or renovating over an easement? Hell yeah, guys. If you do that, unfavorable consequences will come to you, such as removal of the building or paying damages costs because of the unauthorized construction. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully I schooled you on the 101 of easements. Jump in the comments, let me know what you